Hey class, this video is a brief introduction to your writing assignment for this week, which is based on the Ghent Altarpiece. And part of the assignment is go to the website that I've posted in this week's folder, and if you haven't already, to look at all the panels on the Ghent Altarpiece and to pick one that really appeals to you. And one of the benefits of the website I posted is that you can zoom in to each panel in seemingly infinite detail. You can get extremely close and see how much detail was included in the work. So choose one panel out of many from the work that you really like and that you would like to write about. The first thing you should do is to just give a very brief description of what is in that panel. It doesn't need to be lengthy or long or too overly detailed. Just a brief introduction, and then you go into your visual analysis of the work. So I have an example for you, which we've seen before, the Mona Lisa. So if I was going to do a writing on this work, I would just briefly mention that this was the wife of a Florentine silk merchant, or at least it's believed to be. And that's probably as much as you need to say if you were writing about this work. Then you would want to go into what you see in the work. And in the assignment instructions, I've listed several things that you'd want to focus on: space, color, texture, and I think I may have listed one or two others. So when we look at this work, one thing that you could definitely talk about is color and the dullness of the color. Now in your description about color, try to pick out what are the most important colors and sort of think in terms of hierarchy, that these are the 2 or 3 most important, and really talk about the location of those colors. So here you talk about the yellows and the greens, which we learned about is a result of the varnish that's on the painting itself and not necessarily what the artist intended. But I'll talk about the specific locations of those colors and then talk about the very dark colors in the work as well. That a lot of it's on the dress and in the hair and in parts of the landscape. I would also talk definitely about space in this one, because we see a landscape in the distance. We get a real sense for a deep space in the painting. And I would describe some of the elements that we talked about in the landscape. The bridge that we see over her shoulder, the difference in the horizons, some of the other landscape features that we see, the river, some of the other natural features. So as you're looking at the work and describing it, try to really point out what you see and the location. Part of the goal of the assignment is to convey to someone who's never seen the work in your writing in as much detail the painting, so that that person, the reader, can form a mental image. So that's kind of the goal in terms of detail. You could also talk about texture, the texture of the fabric on the arms, the texture of the veil that we see, that it seems like a very thin fabric, other textures on the surface of the painting. There are a few other things that you might want to mention, and I will go into more detail in my writing, but that's kind of the approach to the work. That you look at it, analyze it visually, and pick out the most important things, the 2, 3, maybe 4 most important things to really focus on. Color, location, space, line, texture, all of those things you'll want to focus on. I'm looking for about a page to 2 pages in terms of length, just as an estimate. There's no set guideline for length. So it just needs to be detailed, but not overly detailed, not 6 to 7 pages, but 1 to 2 pages. So it needs to be thorough. And part of the idea of the exercise is to really get you to look at the painting. Looking at works of art is an active thing. It's a physical thing, and if you really look at something in a museum, often you'll feel tired afterwards. So it takes more than just a few seconds to really see everything in a painting. It takes several minutes. So when you choose your panel that you want to write about, make sure that you spend 5 to 10 minutes just looking at it. Really zoom in through the use of the website and really find all those things, all the detail and color, everything that's in that painting. That's really the goal of the exercise, is to kind of train ourselves how to look at painting, which is different than anything else. If you have any questions, definitely let me know, and I hope you enjoy this assignment, because the Ghent Altarpiece is an amazing work of art.